Ashanti's what's popping today, and she made some comments that caused DJ Academics to respond to. And Ashanti was on the Charlemagne show, breakfast show, and she did say that there was a producer that she worked with back in the day who asked her to take a shower with him for payment for producing 2 of her songs. This is what she said.
Irv Gotti? Who? Let's hear.
Once. One producer, like, we did 2 records together. He was like, okay, I'm not going to charge you, you my homie, whatever. And then when it came time to put on the album, he was like, well, let's take a shower together. What?
Well,
and I thought he was joking. Together. Like, I thought he was joking. And then he's like, nah, I'm dead serious. Like, let's go out and let's take a shower together and I'll give you the records. If not, I need 40 recs per record.
Jesus Christ. Let's take a shower together.
And I was like, again, I thought he was joking, because we have been working with each other for like, producer. And
this is what DJ Academics said on his podcast.
Here's my problem with her saying this. I wish she revealed the name. It's like when Lotto said this. Lotto was like, yeah, he told me he wanted to fuck her. What did Lotto say? And then everybody thought it was Kodak. It's like, yo, Ashanti, you've been in the industry for 20 years now. Just say the name. Just say the fucking name.
So that is what he said, and that is what she said.
Well, I know that the music business is tricky like that. There's a famous...
Every business is tricky like that.
There's a famous local producer here who got criticized. Actually, some lady accused him. Actually, she was accusing Daddy Andre. Do you remember that allegation?
Yes, I remember.
That he tended to make it a habit to solicit his female music partners.
Yes.
And that was the allegation. And I don't know what happened with that, but music is a very artistic endeavor. People get caught up in their feelings and emotions, and maybe it brings out the worst in some people.
No, it's
sometimes.
Not. It's not feelings and actions. It just a sexual predator is a sexual predator. And unfortunate thing is that it's not only just in the music industry; it's also in media here in Uganda. So many people have been reported, but you see what happens when their names are mentioned. Their friends are going to run and protect them. You can't tell me in your clique, if in your clique there is a sexual predator, that you don't know that your friend is a sexual predator.
Oh,
but
I think
you boys are always like, you know what, we're the gang, we protect each other.
I don't know.
That's
Listen,
what always happens.
How about this? I think sometimes things get lost in translation and definitions. Like when you say predator. So let's say a producer says, hey, I can make some beats for you, but you gonna hook up with me?
You're a predator.
That's not being a predator.
That is being a predator.
I don't see it as being a predator because you have the option of not working with me.
That is
true. If I laid out my terms as such,
true.
And you decide you don't want to do it, then I don't have to produce for you.
But you are a predator.
How are you a predator?
You are a sexual predator because you want to exploit someone sexually.
Well, does it work? Does it apply the other way around too? If you happen to be interested in a lady and she too sets forward conditions for that to happen, is she being a predator?
Yes,
I feel like these simple negotiations, human negotiation for access to sex, you're vilifying and you're pathologizing. This is just how people negotiate.
It's just like when you go ask for a job and then the employer is like, you know what, for me to give you the job, you have to sleep with me. And it happens all the time, and this is exactly what I'm saying. So don't sleep with him or her. Exactly, I understand. Don't sleep with them, but it doesn't neglect the fact that you are a sexual predator. Because one person may not do it, but then the next person, you are going to manipulate that person. You are going to bully that person. You are
Makeup
going to
is manipulation. High heels, push-up bra.
No. That is not the
filters.
Same. Fatboy, be serious right now.
That
is not the same thing right now, because right now you're just being out of pocket. Right now you are endorsing sexual harassment. You are endorsing sexual predators, because this is what happens. People are like, you know what, mention the person, and then when they mention the person, they're like, you know what, just sleep with him. I mean, what's the worst that could happen?
For me, my thing is the issue of consent. Where no consent has been obtained, that's where I can say predator. But if someone sets.
So if somebody forcefully takes you, then that is sexual harassment, right?
That's even rape.
That is
obviously.
rape.
Yeah.
So when somebody keeps on badgering you and sending you unsolicited, sexual messages that you have not asked for, that is not being a sexual predator.
Only if
when you keep on persisting onto somebody sexually, and yet that is not what they want. When a woman goes for a meeting with a man and vice versa, and then they go to meet the client, and then the client is like, you know what, I'll give you this deal if you have sex with me.
I think you have to.
Do you know what that does to somebody?
I think, listen, I think that there's a conflation of many concepts here, and we have to define our terms. So if, for example, let's say a workmate or even a superior expressed to you some interest, romantic interest, all right? And if upon indicating that interest, you are, let's say the feelings are mutual, or you are open to exploring such a relationship, that's not harassment. It is harassment if you turn down the person expresses their interest, you turn them down, they keep pressuring you, they keep insisting, and then even go as far as to tie your future in the company with you accepting to date or sleep with him. That, to me, that is what sounds more like harassment. And so that is why I'm saying that I think we have to define our terms. So if a music producer says, yo, I'll give you beats, but let's take a shower, to me, that's not harassment or being a predator.
That is harassment, and you are a dog for
that's
that.
Just like the guy naming his price.
No,
that's it.
No, that is not what it is. And for you to have to endorse this, I think what you are for is for the boy child to actually have to sabotage themselves. And I think you're advocating, and it's like you're trying to say that men shouldn't have any standards, and men should not have any responsibility, and men should not have any respect for women, because you think that a man is entitled to a woman's body, a man is entitled for sex. A woman is only good for sex. You know what? I'll just give you the beat if you have sex with me. Are you going to ask a man for sex?
It's not
Are you going to ask a man for sex?
It's not a zero sum.
It's not right.
It's not a zero sum game.
Right.
It's not a zero sum game.
No, it's utterly
and
disgusting.
if a man has something else that I'm interested in, and it may not be sex, it just so happens that the gender dynamics makes it so that the thing that a woman has that a man might want could be the sex. But think about your basic.
That is utterly disgusting.
Think about the basic. Think about bribery. Think about kickbacks. It's the same principle where a person is abusing their position in order to.
Thank you for using that word. You are abusing your position to get sexual favors.
In order to pressurize someone else to give them, to yield to them.
Thank you, and thank you for saying it. You are abusing your authority. You are abusing your position so that you can get sexual favors. That is utterly disgusting, and how you don't see that is very mind-boggling to me right now.
I think
it's absolutely absurd.
I actually think we only have a misunderstanding with one aspect of it, which is if it's like on the outset, like music producer, give me some beats, and he says, cool, do we hook up? And if he says no, then end of story. But if like it's a situation where there is already an established relationship, let's say, and the continuation of that relationship requires that sexual favor to be dispensed, then I guess you could say that's a form of harassment. Also, when you're applying inordinate pressure on the person to yield to you when they don't want to, clearly that's harassment. And there's harassment of all kinds, sexual, emotional. You can, as long as you're bothering someone that is bothering someone.
Take a shower with me, and then I will give you the records. That is bothering someone.
But what's the difference?
That is you
tell me
crossing
something.
Boundaries. That is you having no respect for the other person. That is you just being a pig.
Well, what if she said yes?
She didn't say yes.
What if
she didn't say yes? If she said yes, it wouldn't be a story she would be telling right now.
Are you willing to acknowledge that it can work the other way also, the other way around, where sometimes ladies exploit those dynamics in furtherance of their own ambitions? There's ladies in high places today who got there through these channels.
And I'm saying it is wrong whether a man does it, whether a woman does it. It is wrong because sexual harassment.
There are ladies who targeted.
There are men who are not safe from it either.
Well, there have been ladies who have targeted senior managers and CEOs and managing directors ingratiated themselves, offered sexual favors in the hopes that it will turn into a promotion or some other opportunity. That happens too.
That is true, and I'm still saying it's utterly disgusting and
Why?
disrespectful.
It's her body.
Disgusting. It is disgusting.
Hang on a second. It's her body.
No, because you are acting out of dishonesty. You have no integrity, and on top of that, it just goes to show that you as a person have low self-esteem, and you know you're not smart enough to actually get that position or get that work done with merit. That means you are dumb.
It's called doing whatever
you
it takes.
You are dumb. No, you are dumb, and that is what people. No, you are dumb.
What do you think
have
about
no integrity.
Commercial sex work? Women who provide commercial sex, who have sex for money.
People who actually like, this is my profession. I have respect for those women.
So how is it different?
You are providing a service. That is the business, to have sex with people.
And so now someone
is not the same when you go to a corporate office and you're applying for a job and the boss is like, have sex with me so that you can get this job. I'm not applying for sex work. I am applying to be an on-air person or to be a marketeer, not to be a sex worker.
Yeah, but what if the lady comes to the boss's office and says, hey, I hear there's an opening for a new position and that a number of people have applied for it. I'm not sure if I'm fully qualified or if I have the full experience, but I'm interested in this position, sir. So if you'd consider me for the position, I'd be willing to go out on a few dates with you, perhaps even spend a night with you.
And thank you for saying that, because if a woman has to go to that extreme to do that, you are not qualified for it, and the boss was probably not even considering you, and you are a pig.
But if she gets the job, for me, I count that as a win for her.
How is it
I'm like, yeah, what a smart woman.
Why would
Very
you,
strategic.
Fatboy, oh my goodness. This is why a lot of businesses just never survive.
That's their choice.
You want
but
to give,
she has gotten what she wants.
She has gotten what she wants.
Bad for the business, but good for her.
She's not going to last there any longer, because the minute the money does not add up, you're going to get cut.
Someone with that kind of
you're
resilience,
going to get cut.
Someone with that kind of resilience is typically someone who's likely to survive.
No.
There's a lot of hustle. By the way, can I tell you, there's a lot of hustlers in corporate companies.
I understand there are a lot of hustlers, but I also know
who do things you can't even believe.
I understand that, but none of those people ever last there long, and these companies also do not last long.
Get rich or die trying.
And that's the thing. You can die on that mountain where you sabotage your integrity, and the funny thing is that a lot of people don't care for their integrity, and this is why I say that I think I'm living in an era or in a world that just doesn't fit for me, because people who go out of their way to do despicable, vile things just to get ahead and screw somebody else over and, go on. This is why a lot of people, or rather organizations, are just not thriving, because you are giving positions to people who don't deserve it.
Exactly. So it's either in exchange for sex or it's nepotism.
Do the work because you want to get 1 minute of pleasure.
That, or it'll be a cousin, they'll employ a family member or a friend. There's nepotism. Like, there's all kinds of things that go wrong. But in as far as those individuals are concerned, they're not unhappy that they got the opportunities. Whether or not it sinks the company, that's not their business.
Now you see,
that's my point.
Now you see, that is the thing.
What?
On the side of the employer, you have a lot more to lose,
and that's his or her problem.
And I don't see how it's mind-boggling to me how you don't see it that way. If you care for your company, you're not just going to,
I wouldn't do that.
My head is even hurting right now.
I wouldn't do that.
My head is even hurting
if I were to wear my business owner, business manager hat, I wouldn't do that. It's not good for the company. But I am wearing the employee hat, the job seeker hat, the opportunist hat, wherein such a scenario would benefit me if I could take advantage of it. If there was a window in which I could insert myself and offer someone something that they wanted, it could be a kickback, it could be whatever else.
You see,
if I get the opportunity, how does that not help me?
You see, the thing about that is like selling your soul to the devil. The devil is always going to keep wanting and wanting and wanting and wanting. And if you cannot feed that demon, guess what happens? You're thrown out, and then they get the next pretty farm looking thing. You get, or they, you know what's
That's
even
why you
worse?
make the most
Do you
of
know
the
what's
time
even
you
worse?
have.
Do you know what's even worse?
What?
They throw you.
They do what?
Throw you out and strip you and take you of everything that you own.
See,
So
that's
now you have here invested 10 years of your life, you know, feeding this demon, and then on top of that you get blackballed from any other business that you would, or brand that you'd want to work with.
Why?
So it is big. You think you
people don't,
let me
because
tell
people
you,
talk.
one thing about men, you men gossip. You talk. You
Yeah,
talk. You
that's
will
one.
tell everyone.
That's
you will
one.
tell everyone.
I ate.
Hey.
That's one we crushed.
And that is how you keep on being used everywhere you go, everywhere you go.
Well, I don't know. Obviously, it's a sticky subject and one that is fraught with emotions. In my opinion, I think it requires more nuance to dissect and understand. But as it applies to Ashanti's situation, seeing as she refused to take the shower with the producer, I'm guessing she didn't get the beats.
I don't think she did, and I think she paid. She paid for them, and also seeing as after what's that guy? Her ex, what's his name? The one who was talking about her.
Nelly.
No,
Irv Gotti.
Irv Gotti.
Yeah.
And seeing as he refused to give her the masters to her music, and she went on to re-record her whole album, and now she's touring and making money and earning off it. I think she's a very determined woman, a very focused woman. She knows what she wants.
She actually
she's
dropped
very confident.
She dropped a new song the other day.
Yes, she did. And she's on tour right now. I think she's a woman with a lot of strong will. And I just urge everybody, if you find yourself in a situation where somebody makes you or tries your dignity and your integrity, walk away. Just walk away from it. There's nothing good that is ever going to come from it. And even though you do get that job, you know, or get that song or get that beat or whatever, at the end of the day, you're probably not going to sleep well at night.
It doesn't matter.
And that is something that is going to keep coming back to you.
Don't you think that's their decision to make?
I know, but that's the thing.
Because you're sounding super preachy.
No, I'm not. I just want people to have to learn to deal with their consequences for the decisions that they make. People don't want to take accountability. It's okay if you want to, you know, offer sex. It's okay if you don't want to. But regardless of whichever it is, make sure you're ready to deal with the consequences. If you say no, chances are it's going to take you 10 steps
What do you
back.
think marriage is? Women offering sex in exchange for security. How come you're not...
What the hell is that?
How come you're not lambasting
this
that?
This is not marriage, because marriage
as
is
harassment and abuse.
Marriage is consensual.
Exactly.
It is consensual. And there are also... This is not marriage where a random freaking man, you don't know where he has dipped his pilili, is asking you to sleep with him so that you can give him a beat. You don't know this man. It's not the same thing, Fatboy.
It is exactly the same.
It's not the same thing. You're not married. You're not married to this person. You're not.
It's exactly the same, because essentially...
How is it the same thing? You're not married to this person. You're not dating this person. You're here for business. And now this person is placing sex on the table. It's not the same thing.
If you understand what marriage is, it is an exchange, a transaction, an exchange for sexual access and resources, status,
with
and security.
Consent, which includes love, respect, mutual understanding, teamwork for the other person.
So if I go to a woman,
it is not the same thing with an employee or two people contracting a business.
You see, the problem is you're being very selective about this.
No,
if I go to a woman and I say, I want to have sex with you, and she says, in order for me to have sex with you, you must marry me. So in other words, she has named a price for access to her body.
Fatboy, who has this conversation? Stop trying to theorize it and make it make
Women don't
sense
demand that you marry them before you have sex.
No, I'm saying
they don't exist.
Stop trying to trivialize and downplay sexual harassment.
You see,
Stop doing that.
We're arguing for a principle.
It is very different, and this is the principle. I am coming to you, Fatboy, for a business transaction. It is business. We are working together. Business.
Marriage is
not
business.
Marriage.
Welcome to reality.
No, this is not
marriage
the same
is
thing.
Business.
Fatboy, stop it and I'm dead ass serious right now.
I'm serious also.
Stop trivializing and stop endorsing sexual harassment. Stop it completely.
I'm not endorsing sexual harassment. We're trying to have a broader conversation about how to define the terms and nuance.
I have brought
and
a
getting
story.
angry about it and being emotional about it is not going to change my mind.
I'm being firm about it, Fatboy. The story
the
here,
lines have to be properly defined.
Fatboy, the story here is a woman, Ashanti, has said somebody sexually harassed her by asking her for sex. It was a business transaction. They were working. Music.
She was not harassed.
Not having sex.
She was asked. She declined. She didn't get the beats. End of story.
That is harassment.
I don't see it that way.
She was working with this person. It's not marriage. It's not the same thing. So stop trying to mix it.
I don't see the
it is not.
I do not see
it is not the same thing. This is not marriage. This is not the same thing. Stop trying to theorize it. It's not the same thing.
What that producer did to Ashanti, I don't think qualifies as harassment. I think it's shady. But I don't think it's harassment.
It is harassment. Call it purple, pink, shady, whatever the case may be. It's harassment.
Underhanded, but not harassment.
Yes, and it is corruption as well. And it is also illegal. And it is also illegal.
I don't think it's illegal.
And he can also get into trouble for it. If she took him to court for that, she would win.
I don't think so.
Fatboy.
No.
And there would probably be other 10, 20 other women saying the same thing.
No, I don't think so.
Yes, it is
and
the same thing.
You accuse me of trivializing. I think you're the one that trivializes
No, you are trivializing.
You just turn everything into a most extreme scenario, rendering it impossible for people, for society to have a proper conversation about how you define the terms.
How?
That to say that someone makes a beat for you,
it is unprofessional.
It is that. That it is. It is
corrupt.
It is
sexual harassment.
It is, but it is not that.
It is disrespectful.
It's unprofessional. It's corrupt, but it's not harassment.
It is disgusting.
It is not harassment.
It is disgusting.
It's not.
It is. It is. It is. It is. It is. It is. Harassment, sexual harassment is when you bring forth sexual advances that are not solicited or wanted or even asked for. How you bring up sex in a business transaction just speaks volumes about you. How you are supporting this speaks volumes about you. Men
I didn't
should
say
have
I support
standards.
it.
You do. You are supporting it because you're trying to compare it to marriage. You're trying to make sense of it, Fatboy.
That's why you guys will never solve this problem.
It is not right. It is why we won't solve this problem is because of men who have your thinking capacity, who think that, it's like marriage.
The reason why these things tend to not get serious is because of the refusal of people like you to be willing to accept the realities of the nuances that are required to explore this question. It's not black and white. It's not. And the more you make it a black and white issue, the more your cases are going to get dropped.
Right now.
The more the cases are going to get dismissed.
It is black and white.
The more women will not be taken seriously.
No gray area.
Of course, there is. There is a gray area.
Sexual harassment in the workplace. Anybody who touches that line or even comes close to it should be highly condemned. And the reason why we will never fight this battle against sexual harassment, and the thing is that even men get sexually harassed, is because people like you who want to trivialize and be like, no, it's okay. It could have been this. It could have been that. No. When you're in a workplace, unless you are a licensed sexual worker and your job is to provide sex. If I am at the bank, I'm not there for sex. If I am in studio, I'm not here for sex. If I'm at the kitchen, I'm not here for sex. If I'm in a restaurant, I'm not here for sex. You understand? I'm here to work. So for anybody to have to bring anything that has nothing to do with that into place or even try to question that, even asking to be my friend is wrong. I'm here on a professional mission, okay, to get the job done. So don't ask me about friendship. Don't ask me about sex.
Don't you think you're being a bit too... I think you're being too dogmatic and extremist about this. And I don't think that's helpful. It's not helpful for growing the wider conversation.
One thing that I have learned in all the years that I have worked in this media industry is that men will quickly turn a professional situation into something else. Men in this industry...
Men everywhere do it. Professional or otherwise.
I'm speaking for this industry that I have been working in for almost 10 years. They will... The first thing that they will see when the first thing that will come to their mind when they see a woman is sex. And many people,
that's just biology.
That is true. Is having sex with them. And many men have gone on to support their friends. We know them. We know the sexual predators. We know the rapists. We know the molesters. We know all of them by name. And the people who come to their rescue are other men. And if you keep on trivializing this, and other women, yes. If we keep on trivializing it, we're never going to make our workplaces safe for anybody. I am dead serious on that. I am not compromising on it. And
we're also serious.
Anybody who trivializes it should get the same punishment as the perpetrators. It is not right.
You see, now that's just silly.
If you are if you're in a work setting, Fatboy, and I'm dead ass serious. If you're in a workplace situation, and this is not funny
serious
for me
enough,
because I have been a victim. If anybody brings up the question of sex or pleasure in a professional situation, that is harassment because you are not there for
BS.
That. It is. It is.
To BS.
It really
Don't
is.
people in companies date?
It is.
Don't they get married?
This is the difference. It is consensual.
Exactly.
I'm talking about the areas.
Exactly.
I'm talking. It's not, Fatboy. You know what? I'm done with this conversation. And to be dead as serious, speaking as a victim, I don't take this lightly. I do not take this one bit lightly. And I'm getting very emotional right now. Anybody who brings up sexual relations when you walk into an office to conduct business is a rapist, is a sexual predator.
Be realistic.
And is someone who is disrespect. I am
Be realistic. You're being very unreasonable.
I am not taking it back. And this is what happens all the time.
And I don't think that's helpful to the conversation.
No, when women come out to speak up on this, they are quick to be shut down.
Do you know why?
Blackballed.
Do you know why?
They're quick to be banned.
Do you know why?
Because all of you are
because
pigs.
They sound like
no, because all of you are pigs and all of you are sexual
we're all
predators.
Pigs.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Sexual predators.
Do you see?
And you are accomplices to the crime.
How do you expect to solve the problem if this is how you're approaching the conversation?
No, this is exactly how
you're condemning men, condemning everybody. We're all pigs.
I am condemning the sexual predators, men and women. Those are who I am condemning. Men and women who sexually harass and turn the workplace into a very hostile and not safe place for their employees.
I've mentioned this to you. I've mentioned this to you before that I think there should be gender segregation, and I'm sympathetic to the arguments that have been put forward by some people that they think feminism, just sort of women's liberation, just ended up complicating society. Because men and women are just biologically inclined to be attracted to each other, and men are inclined to be on the pursuit. And just because you're in a professional setting, it doesn't mean that a man will not notice that you might be attractive. And within reasonable bounds, it should be okay for a man to express that interest and to even pursue. Of course, where you draw the line is, and the argument could be made that each woman has her own level of threshold of tolerance for what she would be willing to accept in terms of the persistence a man might show in expressing his interest. If it gets to the point where it's uncomfortable and she vocalizes it, she states it, and the man does not abide, harassment sounds like it. But if it's a back and forth, it's a playful thing, they're getting closer and something's in the air and it leads to a relationship or marriage or whatever it is, that should be acceptable. And I think most people would agree. And that is why I'm against drawing a hard line and saying that there can never be a conversation like that. It's just unrealistic.
You are digressing
unrealistic.
And you are going away from the point. I am not talking about consensual relationships. That is not what I am talking about.
You said, as long as it is a professional, and you'd even mention the sex,
yes,
that is harassment.
Yes, it is. I am not talking on this conversation.
It's only harassment if it's non-consensual.
What I said, and I'm going to say this clearly, what I said, do not twist my words. We are talking about instances where it is unprofessional and unconsensual. This was not about consent or consensual relationships. I'm aware people meet their loved ones or the loves of their life and get married in the workplace. That is not what I'm talking about. This is not what this argument is about. It is not.
That's why it's important to define the terms.
What triggered this story is a woman saying somebody asked her for a sexual favor, in a professional setting. That is what I'm talking about. That is what my argument is. Stop trying to deflect. Stop trying to gaslight. I still stand.
We
by
heard
the
you loud and
hard
clear.
line.
If I have
still
come to
stand by
work,
what
if I have
said.
come to
Yes,
do business,
yes,
if you mention sex,
yes,
you are a pig.
yes,
That is harassment.
Yes, it is. And I still mean that.
So
Yes,
I'm not
you
twisting
are.
your words.
Yes, you are. And that is exactly what I'm
So
saying.
exactly. That is what you mean.
You are trying to defend it by saying there are people who have consensual relationships. That's not what I'm talking about.
I'm defending it by saying.
Don't even bring that up because
I'm
that's
defending
not the
it by
argument.
saying that
That is
there's
not
nuance.
the argument. It's like we are talking about rape and now you're saying no, but there are people who have consensual sex. Yes, they are. That is not the argument right now. We are talking about the ones that are not consensual.
You see, this is what you don't appreciate.
We are talking about violation of somebody's space.
Listen to me.
That is what we are talking about.
Listen to me. It's
not the other.
Hang on a second. A sexual act can be consented to, but I'm saying the conversation.
That's not what we are talking about.
Just a minute. The reason why the harassment issue becomes very sticky is that in all the conversation leading up from the time they meet to the time that the consent is obtained, it's a gray area which is open to interpretation, which some people may call flirtation, some people may call pursuing, and some people may call harassment. It is a gray area, and if you're not willing to accept that, there is really no conversation to be had.
Go pursue a woman at the club. In the workplace, we came to work, okay? So keep whatever it is that you have.
But you just said people can fall in love and get married.
And that is not... Again, you are twisting my words. You are gaslighting.
I think you're confused.
No, I'm not. You are trying to gaslight and deflect from what I'm talking about.
I'm trying to follow your logic.
Fatboy, people have consensual sex. Yes? You meet a girl on a dating app in the club and you start flirting. Yes, that is the place for it, right? That is the place for it. What I am talking about is the workplace, a professional setting. It is inappropriate. It is unprofessional.
So to
it
those
is
who
not right, and that is what this conversation is about.
So to those who got
and the
married,
story that triggered this,
okay,
and the story.
Answer this question.
And the story that triggered it is a woman saying she was harassed. I'm not talking about people who consented to somebody else flirting with them. Or hitting with the Fatboy, stick to the story. Ashanti said her producer asked her for a sexual
The problem
favor.
is you're saying
that
a lot.
Is what we are talking
you're saying
about.
a lot, and I think you're not.
No, Fatboy,
you're failing to connect the dots.
You are deflecting. That is not
I'm
what
not
I'm
deflecting.
talking about.
I have said clearly.
Fatboy,
I don't think the Ashanti situation.
Deflecting. You are deflecting. You are the one deflecting. You brought in marriage. Marriage has nothing to do with this situation. She's not married to this producer.
See, that's the problem.
She has never been married. So why
I'm
would
arguing
you even
from
bring
principle. You're arguing from emotion.
Fatboy, I am
and that's
speaking,
what you get.
No, I'm not arguing from emotion. I am speaking from fact.
When you argue from principle,
every workplace has rules, right? Every workplace has rules. That's why you sign a contract. That's why you sit with HR to tell you cannot do this and that. I am saying if you bring sex in a professional setting where people have come to work, it's unethical. It is
when you say when you bring sex, what does that mean?
You talk about it or even
you express an interest in having sex with somebody.
It is unprofessional, it's unethical, it is wrong.
Okay, so for those,
is wrong.
Just a minute.
And that is what this conversation is about.
Stop. Now, from there, I ask you this. So for those who have found love, gotten married and settled down.
That is not what I am talking about, Fatboy.
Then what is sex?
You know what?
Excuse me. How do you think
at this point you're just
the people who got married, the people who got married in the wait a minute. The people who got married in the workplace. You don't think there was a time they were having conversations about sex?
I am not talking about consensual relationships. Mark me right. I don't know which other language I have to say this in, and I don't want to have this conversation with you anymore because it's utterly disrespectful. You are and as an employer, shame on you for even trivializing this, and I'm dead serious. I'm done with this conversation.
To hell.
I'm done with it.
Okay, well, that's what we get when things get heated up over here, and we like having these kinds of conversations. Well, tell us what you think about it. You're listening to your number one station, RX Radio.